Bill Maher and Anna Kasparian. Let's check it out.
Does solve a lot of issues. That's
so
for sure.
If I just threw money at this problem, made it go away, would that be okay if I just fix this? Because
if you front load the "I'll pay for it, don't worry about it anymore,"
we'll
accept
but not just that. I mean, not just paying, but also manly stuff like. I mean, of the thing you're talking about, I feel like the classic cliche is bitching about the boss. And I feel like if I could say to a woman, listen, you bitch about this every night, I'm just going to hire someone to kill him.
Ooh, I like that.
See, exactly. I'm just going to fix this. And then I don't have to listen to you talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fix it. It can be done. I mean, I know good people, reliable people who are not going to get carried away, and just handle it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're yapping about. Okay, let's go.
Like, I worry about the drivers. Like, they're going to be out of a job soon. So what's the plan? And that's the thing that worries me, because I look at the political landscape, and I think you and I, the one area where I think we have a lot of agreement is where we are willing to be critical of the Democratic Party. I'm obviously also critical of the Republican Party. Neither party seems competent for the moment that we're in.
No.
And that's terrifying.
I agree.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying.
Right. It reminds me of the.
How do the Democrats not seem competent? What do you want the Democrats to do that they haven't been doing? One of my biggest issues with the Democrats, though, like a couple of them capitulated to the government shutdown, but other than that, they've been overperforming. So it sounds like a lot of yapping to me.
I'm sure you watch the World Series every inning.
Oh, definitely,
but there was one 18-inning game, which was very long.
That was the Dodgers and...
Yes, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays.
Right.
And that's twice as long. It's 9 extra innings, a whole nother game. And it's like nobody scored in those extra innings. It was like, wow, this is there for the taking for one of you teams to win this game, which was tip the series to you, and nobody could do it. And I was like, that is exactly what the Republicans and the Democrats... I mean, the Republicans, when they came into office, they so had the wind at their back. All they had to do was not get drunk with power and fuck it up. And of course, that's exactly... and I don't think his instincts about fixing this and this and this and this are wrong always. There is lots of shit that needs fixing, and some he's fixed great, in my view, like did better in the Middle East than anybody had done, got NATO to pay for shit, colleges out of control, yes. But of course, almost everything, the way he does it, is just a disaster. And
I agree.
Wrong about the Middle East. NATO is overblown, and then colleges, he's been disastrous. So Bill Maher doesn't know what he's talking about.
With you on NATO,
cruel,
yeah,
and it's unnecessary.
Even Anna agrees. Like, okay, NATO, sure. I said overblown. It's like NATO paying. I think here's my thing. Here's my honest opinion about it. It's like this really helped NATO more than it helped the United States. It removed a lot of our influence and gave them a lot more autonomy. So, based off that perspective, I mean, it's fair.
It's like just unnecessarily asshole-ish to a problem that if you had just, handled it in a just a more humane, human, far-sighted way, you'd have the people behind you. And now he's starting to lose them.
Oh,
because of the economy.
Yes.
And even with immigration, even though they agreed with him, they don't like
they don't like watching day laborers at Home Depot parking lots get snatched up by masked men, right? Like, they don't like seeing, parents get snatched up by ICE agents as they're dropping their kids off to school. Like, I think Biden really did mess up when it comes to immigration, 100%. So I actually really sympathize with people who were furious over what happened with immigration under the Biden administration.
If you want to say Biden wasn't forceful enough in dealing with immigration, I think that it lacks a lot of context, but I understand why the average person would think this, not knowing how everything works. So I'm like, sure, I think it's still overblown. I think it's a lot of misinformation. I think the whole idea that there was an open border is a fucking lie. It's not a thing. I know for a fact it's a fucking lie. But it's just like, it was just a response based off like the end of the executive order by Trump. Like people just were waiting at the border and now they all just influxed in. And I feel like if you, Biden, knew that this was the case, you should have probably prepared better. I think that is one of the most valid criticisms you can make, is he should have prepared better after knowing that he's going to have to deal with the end of Title IX. I keep on forgetting.
At the same time, I don't think most Americans who think of themselves as hardliners on immigration realize just how integrated undocumented immigrants are in our society, right? And I'm talking about people who have been here for literally decades, who do pay taxes, but don't get the benefits that come along with the, various public programs that they're funding through their taxes. And there needs to be a better solution than swinging from one extreme to another on this topic. And the thing that I am the most furious about, honestly, is Congress. Congress is the most useless branch of our government at the moment. I'm not saying it's unnecessary. I think it's an important part of our government. But over the last few decades, we both know Congress has ceded much of their power to the executive branch as it pertains to foreign policy. Big mistake.
That's been going on for 70 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, Congress is...
It's never been this bad. That's the point. Congress is absolutely worthless.
Supposed to be the most important branch of government. I mean, that's what the Constitution says, for
They're
sure.
the ones who are supposed to write the bills and pass the bills.
Power of the purse, power of declaring war. The president is just the guy who is supposed to carry it out. He executes it. He's the top executive. But he's like, you hire a CEO to run your company. But he's not the dude. He's carrying out.
Merlin, you are an insane person.
What the guy who owns Starbucks is his vision.
Right.
Okay. That is, as you say, completely lost. And the only, I did a piece a few weeks ago about the Supreme Court being the last line of defense here. We're going to see what they're going to say about tariffs, like whatever you think about tariffs.
They have to strike it down. I mean,
it's a congressional thing.
Yes.
And so, like, these kind of basic things, I'm not.
W Colt.
Completely pessimistic about how the court is going to rule. The Supreme Court does have the ability to surprise you.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes they...
barely, Anna, barely. I know your new wave is to like appease MAGA, but like we also don't need to lie. Barely.
They take a hip pill and get it right. Not always, and they have certainly gotten a lot more conservative over the years. But I'm not.
This is a rage bait fake account, and this is like a Russian bot trying to create like anger, because no Jewish person will ever say Trump is God. The fuck? They're not fucking. They actually believe in their religion. That's just a random.
Kind of like, well, with all Trump stuff, I said this time I'm not going to do it like the first term. Like when it happens, maybe I'll get upset if it's the thing that is worth getting upset about and talking about and critiquing, and I never pull a punch on that. But I don't give a shit about the ballroom. And if you do, it's just an indication that Trump is much too part of your personality. It doesn't matter. First of all, it doesn't
matter, but it's also a waste of money, waste of time, and it shows his own ego. It's like all of this compound to the character that is being created. It's like, what are we doing?
Cost you anything?
That's the number one thing, and that's the most important thing.
Even if it did, it's
around.
It's like 2 seconds of the interest we pay every day.
That's a fucking terrible argument. Something tells me Bill Maher wants to go to the ballroom. That's what it sounds like.
Can we talk about like the feminine qualities of our president for a minute? Okay, like
everything is so gay.
Yes.
I mean the
no offense,
ballrooms and gold everything.
Oh, the millwork on the walls and everything. He's so proud of it.
It's a very butch administration. and Hegseth with the we want no gays. We just want well-shaved, strapping young men in perfect shape. I mean,
Same.
the whole thing is
It's amazing. It really is.
That's actually a fucking hilarious. Improvements are not always the time. Some most from donation, not tax dollars. Based. MAGA is so based. MAGA is
it's
so
very
based.
gay. Ever watch one of those Hallmark Christmas? Here we are, high quality zip cooter, but that is on bill and prices.
Of experience. But as you and I both know as Californians, we get a double whammy of experiencing the incompetence of leadership in our state. And so I feel like I find myself in this really interesting position of experiencing what corrupt Democratic leadership looks like and how disastrous it is. And then on a federal level, I'm not, loving a lot of what's been happening recently with the Trump administration.
No.
And I just...
It's the energy you give off. Oh, the corrupt Democratic leadership. So bad. And it's like, I'm not loving what Trump does. Like, whose side are you on? I think she's more anti-Democrat than anti-MAGA at this point. I think her audience is becoming MAGA, so she's becoming a little bit more of a MAGA show.
I understand Americans who have just completely written off politics. They don't vote. They don't engage. I think that's a mistake, but I understand where that's coming from.
I feel the same.
I just don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it's fixable.
It's not, as long as there's like smartphones, but because that just is making us ever stupider. And I mean, people don't know anything anyway. So, I mean, they've completely lost the thread with education. But can I tell you,
yeah, we do have to create a better educational funnel. And I agree. People think they're becoming more smart because they have more information. Nope, they're just becoming more dumb because they're having wrong information.
From California.
Yep.
I mean, you're from here, right?
Yes, born and raised.
Okay. So here's a fire story. Like in January when the fire hit, Matt Gaetz was a scheduled guest. I think it was January 7th. And he drove through the fire to get here to keep the booking. I mean, I've had people cancel bookings for nothing. And then we chatted here right up until the evacuation order came.
No way.
Yeah,
Good for him. That's actually really impressive.
We are praising Matt Gaetz. I don't give a fuck if he came and stood here while a fire is going on. That's stupid. He obviously did it so he can raise his own notoriety. I'll be honest, like, this is some of the most weak sauce. If he saved someone's life, then it's like, okay, congrats. What the fuck are we talking about?
No, but seriously.
Well, my catch line is always, everybody's a monster till you talk to them.
Yeah.
And then there are certain things you're obviously going to still disagree about. You know, I mean,
I'll be honest. I'm not gonna make this into a video. This shit's a waste of my time. Oh, epic Israel Hamas debate. All right, this might be a video. Curious.
Which
that is legitimate. That's totally legitimate. But that's not what's happening.
Hamas hides in tunnels underneath hospitals. You can't go in.
Hold on.
Hamas is the bad guy. If you don't get that.
No.
I know you're going to say genocide, and I'm going to say, well, you don't know what the word means. And it's like, if you don't even know what the words mean.
I'm Armenian. I know what the word means.
All right. This might be. I might cut all that bullshit out at the beginning and just put this. We'll see. But all right, this is where it gets juicy. I heard this gets juicy. So
I mean,
no matter where it's, on whatever side it is.
Yeah.
And
you want to talk about a little bit of Shimon? You want to get exhilarated, right? I can exhilarate
I know
you.
you're going to say genocide, and I'm going to say, well, you don't know what the word means. And it's like, if you don't even know what the words mean.
I'm Armenian. I know what the word means.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's when you try to wipe out an entire population of people, which they didn't come close to doing.
I mean,
they prosecuted a war in which they were attacked, which everybody gets to do.
Which, by the way, let me just say, if they were literally going after Hamas, that is legitimate. That's totally legitimate. But that's not what's happening.
Hamas hides in tunnels underneath hospitals. You can't go in.
Hold on.
Hamas is the bad guy. If you don't get that, Hamas, you don't get much.
What Hamas did on October 7th was disgusting. Killing. I mean, I don't at all hold back on that.
I'm gonna smoke one to that too. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we got some agreement. I know certain individuals, Hassan, that wouldn't agree to that. But okay. Good start.
In fact,
that's the easiest thing in the world to say. Nobody disagrees.
Nobody
disagrees.
There are people who disagree. Actually,
raping baby. Yes, there are.
There are people who think I'm wrong because Hamas. They're freedom fighters. What kind of freedom are we talking about here?
The people see Hamas, the people who hate oppression so much, are on the side of the people, and that's not just Hamas. If you social justice warriors, if you have any other issue besides gender apartheid in the world that is above that, you're just a joke. That if you hate oppression, there is one issue which should be above all because it affects more people, hundreds of millions of women who have basically no freedom in the Muslim world.
Right. So we should slaughter them instead, which is what's been happening.
Well, you should prosecute a war to the end. That does involve slaughter of every war.
I think, listen, civilians get killed in wars. I think everyone knows that.
I do think it is interesting that people on the left do not bring up that part of the conversation of all these customs that are definitely not in certain places, not all, that are not definitely pro. Oh, Giants would cinch the #1 overall pick with a loss today. Let's go. Do not talk about how some areas women have basically no rights. It's very interesting to think about.
That everyone acknowledges that,
especially when you hide behind them.
But when 83%, according to the IDF's own data, and this is reported, by the way, I consume Israeli media on this. I don't consume American media on this. And Israeli media is super honest, way more honest than our media is. So when the IDF's own data indicates that 83% of the people that they've killed are civilians.
Because they hide behind them.
But Bill, do you understand that by killing so many civilians, they are essentially multiplying extremism?
I do understand that. Do you understand that there's very often in the world two very bad choices, and you only—
I mean, I'm an American. I have to vote in presidential elections. Yes, I do know that.
Okay, you don't have the good choice. You have the bad choice and the even worse choice. Israel has been being attacked by Hamas. First of all, the entire Arab world rejected them for 75 years. They kept trying to make a deal. They kept saying, no, we want it all. That's what from the river to the sea means. It means we want it all. We don't want a compromise. They've never wanted a compromise. Israel gave Gaza back.
But did they? But Bill, let's say our country was occupied by Mexico, right? We have a bunch of people who are occupying our land, and then they decide, you know what, we're going to leave. Hold on, let me finish.
They weren't occupying
Let me finish. Let's say Mexico decides, you know what, we're going to leave, but we're going to control their electricity, what goes in, what comes out.
Because they were attacking.
We're going to mow the lawn and just like randomly decide we're going to slaughter people because they allegedly threw rocks. They have literally nuclear.
Well, they didn't allegedly.
I mean, Israel has nuclear weapons, Bill. They have nuclear weapons.
And they don't. And
they have the world.
But Israel's not going to use the nuclear weapons on Gaza. Like, I don't know about all that.
Right.
Military superpower backing them.
Right. Well, they have nuclear weapons, which they don't use. If Hamas—
No, they don't use it, but just pretend.
If Hamas had a nuclear weapon, how many seconds would it take before they used it on Israel?
I have no idea.
3. 3's the answer. 3 seconds.
How do you know that, Bill? Come on.
Because it's in their charter.
If they used a nuclear weapon against Israel, I'm pretty sure the very land that Hamas cares about would be done for.
Okay.
But they don't care about the land. That's the point. The Hamas doesn't care. It really— what Bill Maher is doing is very— I respect it. A lot of this conversation between Israel and Palestine does not really go into the nuances of what is actually going on. Now, I do think Israel's become more unhinged. I've said this multiple times in this stream, that ever since the ceasefire deal earlier on this year, Israel seems to be more obsessed with a different motive. But ultimately, the intent was to get rid of Hamas and to get back the prisoners or whatever, and to remove Hamas from power altogether because of what happened on October 7th. And even though, obviously, unfortunately, a lot of innocent people died and all that stuff, it would be different if Israel went out of their way and tried to kill at any means necessary. They could. They have the weapon power. They won't, but there deserves criticism, of course, anytime civilian lives are dead. The difference is Hamas doesn't care about anybody. They'll kill everybody in Israel if they could. So intent is very clearly not the same, is what Bill Maher is trying to articulate.
Well, then they would be martyrs, and that would be a good thing, because that's their death cult view of the world. It's a good thing when you die. That's why they strap suicide vests sometimes on children. The fact that you can't see the moral difference between these two sides always amazes me among people.
I actually don't see the moral difference when you have like Bezalel Smotrich and Ben Gvir literally talking about exterminating the entire population of Gaza.
Okay, they're not talking about...
And these are not... They are. I mean, the statements are brazen. They're upfront. They're honest. This is what they actually want to do.
Well,
I mean, the West Bank is another example.
It's in Hamas.
The West Bank had nothing to do with what happened on October 7th, but they're annexing that land anyway. They're raining terror on innocent people, innocent Palestinians. They're driving them out of their homes. Like, listen, I am willing to admit, because it's the truth, that what Hamas did on October 7th was a fucking atrocity.
Oh, wow.
Killing innocent
Who
people.
couldn't admit that?
But you have a difficult time at least acknowledging the atrocities that have been committed against innocent civilians in Gaza.
Well, it depends on what you call an atrocity. All wars are going to have
A
atrocities.
double tap on a hospital? A double tap on a hospital? So when the first responders show up?
I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I vaguely remember the thing.
Right.
Yeah. First of all, that's an old terrorist trick. That's what they do all the time.
Okay, but are you at least going to acknowledge that the IDF doing that was wrong?
Yeah, I'm sure they have committed what we would call war crimes, as every army does in every war.
Right, including our own, right?
In every war, including the Civil War. I forget who it was who made the good point. Like, during the Civil War, a lot of people would say, especially in the South, that Sherman did not have to burn Atlanta quite as badly as he did. I mean, we were pretty brutal. But would you also then...
I watched the recent TV shows about, man, what was his name? It's from the show. Is it Bird? Amazon. John. It's something with John. Bird, Amazon, John show. Blah. Good Lord Bird was a show about John Brown, right? So John Brown was doing some definitely war crimes to these like racist slave owners. Those are war crimes what he was doing, but
just say, well, we don't know who the good guys were in that war. No, I think it was the North. I think they committed the atrocity in Atlanta. Yeah, that's true. They burned when they shouldn't, and they were very rough on the South. They were still the good guys. They were fighting against slavery as Israel is fighting to survive. And also, they are the front line in the Western world.
I totally disagree with you on this entirely. Well, I think much of the problems we have in the Middle East is due to the enabling of this Look, it's an expansionist policy. If Israel wasn't trying to continue expanding in the Middle East, so I don't think they would be dealing with the enemies that they're dealing with.
They've never been asked. They've never been trying to expand.
They're trying to annex the West Bank right now, and Lebanon, southern Lebanon, and Syria, which they've succeeded in.
These are all places that they were attacked from. When they became a country in 1947, they said, "Okay, we will accept half a loaf." They had as much right to that land as anybody. There was a continual presence there since 1000 BC, when King David had a kingdom.
I don't care about that at all.
Okay, but it's relevant.
But you can't wipe out innocent people because you used to live there like centuries ago.
You're calling them colonizers. They're not colonizers.
They're expanding and they're annexing land. That's what colonizers do.
First of all, the holidays are that special time of year when everyone...
Interesting. They are trying to expand. I do think there is like places in part of the Israeli government that are very clearly trying to expand their Zionism across. I do think there is a more deliberate approach militarily, but I think a lot of it is also playing into a more methodical approach where they're just buying up land. So I do think there's a level of that happening.
And suddenly needs help. It's time for most actually explore, feed you some instead of just actually grade /
love the night sun so more. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Again, they were willing to take half a loaf. Then they were attacked in Excuse me.
It's way more complicated than that, but it's okay.
Well, I don't know if you know the history.
I do really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me the war.
So, for instance,
when were they attacked? What wars?
Okay, so in 1967, when
that was the first time.
No, that wasn't the first time.
When was?
But when you say that they have offered land to the Palestinians, land that belonged to them in the first place,
it didn't belong solely to them.
The whole point of this whole two-state solution was, okay, we'll give you this territory if you promise not to militarize. Without a military, you don't have a country. You don't have a country without a military. You don't have a country without borders, right? Without a military, you can't defend your...
But you can't also allow them to have a military at the same time. That's just kind of like unreasonable to have someone who recently was in war with you, who attacked you, who teamed up with all the Arab nations around you to attack you, to also give them a military right after that. I'll be honest, I think that's very unreasonable. I don't think you need a military to be a country necessarily. Yeah, I mean, all right, let me retract that. You do need a military to have a country. I don't think in this situation it would have been Gaza was creating, or the Palestinians were creating a country right next to Israel, being so antagonistic. They were antagonistic from the very start. Maybe like a shared, more of a like a shared occupation of the territories, probably something a little bit more reasonable, especially after a very gruesome war.
Your borders. So if I were engaging in these negotiations with the Israelis, I would say, listen, I respect the territory that you're offering. However, we need to militarize. We need to protect our borders. To me, that's a big thing.
But that's not what they ever used it for. Again, they gave Gaza back in 2005. They could have chosen.
They didn't give Gaza back they left Gaza, but didn't really leave Gaza when they have complete control over the territory.
Because they kept being attacked. Just let me finish one sentence.
Go ahead.
They could have turned Gaza into a state that was much more like, I don't know, Dubai or something, if they wanted to. They didn't. Hamas took over right away. They never had elections after that.
You're right about that. You're right about the elections,
They're a terrorist mafia. Their own population is terrorized by them. They don't like them. All they did was import weapons from Iran, build tunnels, and use it to prosecute this war against Israel. They never used it. So of course Israel is going to be defensive. Their issue was they were not defensive enough, which is why October 7th happened.
So you're making good points. I'm going to concede to some of them, not all of them, but
no, I don't even know why you want to talk about this.
I know. I'll ask you one more question.
It's frustrating because
my problem is, okay, even if I concede entirely to everything you're saying, how about a little bit of ire directed toward Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the guy who facilitated the funding and has totally admitted to facilitating the funding of Hamas? Why did he prop up Hamas? Because he wanted to essentially discredit the PLO. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of whatabouts you can say.
But it's not a whataboutism. The very man who propped up Hamas is now saying that he needs to fight them.
I mean,
and now he's also funding Abu Shabab. Why are you funding Abu Shabab, who has ties to ISIS?
These things are not wrong. It just looks like you're looking for something to make a false equivalency.
This is what I want. I want Palestinians to live in their own territory. I want them to be able to govern themselves. I want Israelis to live in peace and safety.
Then stop attacking them.
No, I'm going to attack them as long as they're doing what they're currently doing.
They're doing in retaliation for being attacked. Of course it is. They've been attacked. They were encircled. Lebanon. Why are they in Lebanon? Because Hezbollah was attacking from there.
Right, in response to what they're doing in Gaza, yes.
Well, before that, they've had 4 wars there.
Was it when they were trying to annex land from southern Lebanon that they were attacking?
They were not trying to annex land. They were trying to put a border between the country that was continually attacking them. If we were being attacked from Canada, I imagine.
I got the smug face. Like, yeah, go ahead. You don't know what you're talking about, but keep on going. That's that smug face. That's that smug face. Okay.
We would want a little border between Maine and Canada.
True.
I don't think you
But while
really.
building that border, we wouldn't then take a little bit of southern Canada
you're
for
getting
ourselves.
this information.
No, it's not TikTok. I'm
But
very well read on this. Very well read on this. I care about this issue a lot.
I see.
I do. Yeah.
Let me ask you one question, and then maybe we can get off it. Because otherwise, I just want to go. I want to go have dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in this.
Yeah.
It's not really what I started a podcast for. You seem to be itching to get to it, and now that you have, I'm not going to back down on it because
I don't want you to.
I'm not Jewish, by the way.
Oh, I didn't accuse you of being Jewish, and then it wouldn't matter if you were.
No, but I'm saying I do this because I think
that's a good point. Accuse me. What do you mean accuse me? Is it bad being Jewish?
It's the right thing, and because I feel like I know the history and the politics of it.
I respect your perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you had to live in the Middle East, so tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East. Where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. I hear that's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have a Al-Qaeda terrorist leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure, would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv. Or the West Bank, Ramallah. I think is wonderful for a little, it's in the fall. It gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in? Where do you think you'd be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by
you're not
the United
really,
States.
You're not really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen.
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
I'm not blaming Islam on Whitey.
What you're saying is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that
dress?
Did we not
destabilize?
Wait a second.
We were funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian Civil
War.
Oh,
she won't answer the question. Because she knows that she would have to pick Israel, and then she would hate herself. Oh, this is a carefully interesting track. Now, I don't know if Bill Maher is anti-Muslim necessarily, but I do think I understand the point he's trying to make, because I also have big issues with that, but I can't focus on that because I'm too focused on American politics and domestic stuff that's going on right now. But I think that's a fascinating question. A question that, I'm be honest, should be asked way more. If you could go anywhere, especially if you're a woman, if you can go anywhere and live anywhere in the Middle East, where would you go? That's a fascinating question. That's a fascinating. Anna won't answer it. We know why Anna won't answer it. Because the moment he asked the question, he pivoted it to, well, America is the reason why these countries suck. Interesting. Lebanon wants to assault her, but can't take her a comeback. Does she need to live there in that dress? She needs to live there in that dress. That's what he said. That's his question. Interesting. This is a very good question.
Starting under the Obama administration.
That's why
did that not destabilize Syria?
No, what's destabilized?
There's a literal Al-Qaeda terrorist.
We're talking about your dress.
Oh,
why?
It looks good. I know it looks good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's
You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, great.
But the United States did destabilize various Middle Eastern countries.
But that's not his question. That's not his question. That's not what he's talking. That's not the point of the question. That has no relevance to like you getting up, getting on a plane, and moving somewhere.
Are you going to deny that?
I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress? Why couldn't you wear that dress? Why couldn't you?
You want me to talk about jihadism and Islam?
Answer the question, Anna.
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious that the United States just had a freaking Al-Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing that dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
No, she's pivoting. She's cooked. Bill got her. Nah, that was a genius question to ask. It's so simple but effective. That is a genius question to ask. And when someone keeps on pivoting and won't answer the question directly, you know you got them.
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't answer this question.
I'm not going to defend that religion, like that extremist religion at all.
Why can't you just say?
That's what this discussion is about. This discussion is about
it's very much what it's about.
Ordinary, innocent human beings that I don't want to be slaughtered, regardless of what their religion is.
No one does. Then stop starting wars.
It's that simple.
Stop attacking Israel. It'll stop.
Okay.
But the fact that you can't answer that question, and you know that
I don't know what the question is. What's the question?
You keep.
What's my question? What's your question?
You don't really want to hear it.
No, go ahead. I will give you space to speak. Go ahead.
Then you will let me.
Yeah.
Okay. The question is, if you could live anywhere,
right,
from North Africa all the way to, we left out Uzbekistan, you could live there, Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh.
None of the above.
And,
none of them.
Or Tel Aviv.
None of them. Literally none of them.
But if you had to choose one, you would, to you, Karachi, Pakistan, and Tel Aviv, same thing?
I would figure something out, but
that's powerful,
definitely
not as smart as I know you are. Come on, you're going to get killed. You're going to get killed for that for good reason.
She refuses to answer this question. She knows the answer is Tel Aviv, but she can't say anything that supports Israel.
No, I don't.
Yes, you are, and for good reason.
Okay, Bill, I'm Armenian. I have literal family members who currently live in Iran. I have no love for the Iranian regime. Let me be clear about that.
I left out Tehran. Would you like to live there?
Hold on. But let me just say something.
Tel Aviv, Tehran.
There is so much disinformation. Armenian Christians who are part of the Armenian diaspora as a result of the 1915 genocide against Armenians.
I know it.
They're living in Iran right now. They're going to church. They're being left alone by the Ayatollah, as awful as the Ayatollah is. So look, I'm not saying I would want to live in Iran. I don't want to live anywhere in the Middle East. I want to live here in the United States of America, the greatest freaking country in the world.
You're like a politician. You're avoiding
No, I'm being as super honest as I can be.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. 100%.
No. Because the question is, if you had to pick a city, and you're not answering that question, you're doing what
I have no interest in any place in the Middle
politicians
East.
are doing and saying, I don't want to live in any of them. I want to live in America. That's not the question. The question is, if you had to pick, would you rather live in Tel Aviv? Because I promise you, you wouldn't last a week in the other places, and you could easily live in Tel Aviv. So if you don't think that speaks of a difference between cultures and civilizations, then okay, we'll leave it there. But I promise you it does. And if you had to actually do that, I think you would agree with me.
I think given my very harsh and vociferous criticisms of the Israeli government, I probably wouldn't feel so safe living in Tel Aviv right now under this government. Under this government.
First of all, they have free speech there, so it would not be an issue. But that was a side issue. We're not really talking about.
But
We'll just
Bill-
say just a person, not you with your vociferous talking. Just a regular.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, with your political, I think that's valid. Not necessarily. I genuinely don't think the government will do anything. Well, the people of Israel will be dickheads to you. 100%. They'll be a fucking dickheads. They'll spit on you. I saw a video of this kid spitting on someone. That's crazy.
A woman of your
I'm
age.
sure a woman of my age who grew up in the Western world would probably feel the most comfortable in Tel Aviv. I will concede that.
Wow.
Okay. But we're having a
You got
discussion
an
about which
answer.
culture we like, when in reality, I'm having a discussion about the value of human life and wanting innocent people to live, whether they're Israelis or whether they're Muslims in some other Muslim country. In the
you know
Middle
what?
East.
When I'm bored, I know the audience is bored.
Yeah,
So I'm going to cut it there because
Okay,
we've
fair
been
enough.
around that mulberry bush before.
Right.
So I don't want to go around it again.
Okay. You want to talk about husbands again?
Anything. Anything else?
Listen, and I am able to sit with people I disagree with.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. We disagree on this issue.
I mean,
I don't think that this issue alone.
All right. Well, I'm done with this segment. One more video.